Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Valgriz here, and today we're going to be working in Photoshop and Adobe After Effects. We're going to be creating the little animated logo that you guys just saw, and this is the first time I'm ever attempting to do this, so hopefully it turns out good. And let's begin. So you're going to need Photoshop for this. I believe GIMP will work as well. It's G-I-M-P. You can Google it. And then you're also going to need After Effects. Now, if you really want to, I guess you could do this in Vegas, but some things are a lot simpler to do in After Effects, and I just think it'll come out a lot better in After Effects. So first, start off in Photoshop. File, New. Now, what we're going to be doing is going to be based around a perfect circle. Now, the best way to draw perfect circles is to have a perfect square. So make the width be 720, and same as the height. Make sure this says pixels. You can do this like whatever you like. I mean, 1280, 720, as long as the height and the width are the same. That way you'll get a perfect square. But usually 720 is okay for HD. Maybe you want to do 1080 by 1080. It's all good. Resolution, we're just doing it for video. We don't need to enlarge it. So 72 resolutions, 72 pixels in should be good. You can change this. I want to keep mine at CMYK. RGB will work fine though. Just make sure it's not grayscale. So I'm keeping mine at CMYK. You can name this whatever you would like. I'm going to name this as I guess, what would this be called? Like an atom intro, whatever? I don't know. The way I have it planned out in my mind, it's supposed to look like an atom, and it's going to revolve around your logo. So that should be cool. Okay, now you have your background layer. Right-click the background layer and do Layer from Background. Now you're going to notice that if you do not do this, the background is going to be white instead of transparent, and you're going to notice that there's this little lock sign right there. So if you right-click Layer from Background, there is no longer a lock sign there, and now you can uncheck it and you have a transparent background right there. Just create another layer above that, and then I just usually delete this. Yes, so now we have one transparent layer. Alright, and we are going to start by creating some circles. Now, we can use the ellipse tool right here. You can use any of these actually, but these are going to create shape layers, and I generally prefer not to work with shape layers. So what you're going to do to start off is you are going to find this little box right there. Maybe it's a circle, maybe it's a line, whatever it is. You're going to notice it should be right under this little mouse pointer right here. Depending on how you have your setup, I have mine on design, and I have this bar, going from the top to the bottom. But whoever yours is designed, you should see like a little box or a circle or some type of shape here with dotted lines. Now that is a marquee tool. So if you hold this in, you have the ability to select the different marquees you can choose. There's rectangular and there's elliptical. Now elliptical, of course, meaning the circle that you're trying to create. So make sure that you hold this in until you select the elliptical marquee. Now you're going to notice that elliptical marquees allow you to draw circles. Alright, pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to create another layer over this. This is a personal preference. You do not have to do this, but I'm going to call this background. Because we are importing this into Adobe After Effects, I like to have at least one transparent layer as a background, because that's going to simulate the clip in the background, whatever we're going to add to that. And if this turns out the way I want it to, it can be used as an intro, it could be used to overlay onto a scope, it could be used as anything. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Create a new layer above that, and then this is going to be your first circle layer. So what you're going to do is, if you like, I generally prefer to do this just because it helps me be more precise. If you're going to hold in Control or Command and hit H. Now start over at the corner, okay? Hold in Shift and then just draw and drag this out all the way until this corner, and now you're going to have a perfect circle. Now Control H will actually get rid of the circle, but it's still there if you hit Control H again. You are now going to go to this little paint bucket tool or fill tool. If this looks like a gradient tool, same deal with the elliptical marquee. Just hold it in until you get the paint bucket tool. Now make sure that your first color is white, okay? And now fill that in, and now you're going to have this. Now that you have one circle, the next thing you're going to do is you want to, of course, make this circle be like an outline of a circle. So to do this, you could, of course, make another marquee. But personally, what I like to do is I like to go to Select, Modify, and then Contract, which is actually going to contract this marquee. So if you do 10 pixels, it's going to make those marquees smaller by 10 pixels. So I think that probably for what we're doing, if you go to Select, Modify, Contract, 25 is probably going to be good. Alright, that looks about right. So 25. Now you have a circle that is 25 pixels smaller than your original. You're then going to use your eraser tool, make it as large as you would like, and then just erase the inside of it. And because you have a marquee, you're not going to be able to erase the spots out of the marquee. I'm not really exactly sure if it's marquee or marquee. I'm just calling it whatever I feel like at the moment. So Control D will deselect your marquee, and now all you have is your circle. Control H will get rid of that, and now you have just one plain circle. Now go back to your regular tool. This is going to be your outer layer. So we are going to label these layers from the inside to outside. So this is going to be layer 3. Alright, so just make this be circle 3. Alright. It's not necessarily so important that you make sure that your layers are the correct names, but it'll definitely help you organize it, and especially if you create more advanced graphics, it'll definitely help you out in the future. Again, make sure every single thing you do is on a new layer by clicking this button right here, and if you like to delete a layer, you could hit the delete key and select the layer, or just hit this little button right there, or right click delete. Sorry, I'm just getting something to drink. Okay, now what you'd like to do, you can repeat the same process, and I just realized something with the marquees actually messed up. I'm just going to go fix that, but yours should be fine. Alright, so I'm not quite sure what just happened, but for some reason the eraser erased a little bit too much. I just touched it up with the paintbrush tool right here. Anyway, regardless, you want to make sure that you have a perfect circle, and when you check and uncheck this eyeball, it should make the circle disappear. If it doesn't, then you did something wrong. Pretty obvious. Now this time what we're going to do is you're going to click on the layer, either right click and do duplicate, or you can hold in Control or Command and hit J. Now you can have a copy of circle 3. Rename this circle 2, okay, which is going to be the middle circle. Okay, now you're going to make sure that you have your pointer tool selected. Once that's done, you want to make sure that you're on circle 2 layer. Hold in Control and hit T. This is going to bring up the free transform menu for the middle circle, or circle 2. Hold in Shift and hold in Alt, and just drag inward, and you're going to notice that I'm just going to hit Control Z, it's going to undo. If you do not hold in Alt, it is not going to center itself around this anchor point, which is right here, which is the center of the circle, which is the reason why we created this composition to be the same width as its height. So that's why this anchor tool is directly in the center. So if you hold in Control and Alt, it'll actually revolve around that centering anchor tool, or anchor point. And then pretty much what you want to do is you want to make this circle be just the same exact, just a little bit smaller than the original circle 3 you had. Okay. Now you're going to notice when you uncheck circle 2, uncheck circle 3, you're going to notice that circle 2 is just slightly smaller than circle 3, and that's alright. Alright? Once you have that, what you're going to do is you're going to click on circle 2, hit Control and hit J, and rename circle 2 to be circle 1. Okay, so we're almost working backwards. It's pretty much what we're doing. Hold in Control or Command, hit T, same deal. Hold in Alt and Shift, and you're going to make this just slightly smaller than your original circle 2. Okay, and now this looks about right. And you're going to notice that each of these layers are independently, and because this anchor point is in the center, it's all going to revolve around the center axis. So when we start working with it in 3D, we're going to make it be a 3D layer once we get into After Effects. Once we're done with that, then it's going to revolve around the anchor point, which is, like I said, if you make the width and height be the same, it's going to work the most smooth. I mean, if you make it 1280 by 720, it's not going to be smooth. You have to it's going to be a lot more confusing. So I recommend you just keep the height and the width the same, like I just showed you guys earlier. Okay, now that you have that, what you're going to do is you are going to create your little logo in the center. Now for this, I'm actually going to color the background black. That way it's easier to see the white, but for the actual final product, we're actually going to uncheck the background layer. That way you do not see the black. So I'm just going to fill this in. Actually, I don't know why I'm not using the paint bucket tool. But here we go. And you can tell that I made some mistakes with these little sides right here. That's fine. I mean, you get it as close as possible. If it's not perfect, that's alright. Keep in mind, the marquee tool, once it hits the edges, it kind of cuts off. So that is a little bit of a flaw, but you're not really going to notice this when you're in After Effects, so it's not really going to matter as much. Okay, now that you have that, what you're going to do is you are going to design your center logo. So create a separate layer. Okay, use your text tool. Okay, and then my logo is going to be the capital letter V. Alright, make sure that you're in the color white. Okay, like I am. Make your size however large you would like it. see, I'm going to put mine at like 300. I'll do 600. Alright, this is about good, okay? You can hold in Control and T, and this will bring up the free transform for your text. Alright, so just make it whichever way you'd like. Alright, now you have this V right here. Okay, you can also change the font you're using. So I am using Bebas Nui. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce that, but that's how it's spelled. Select whichever font you would like. I'm thinking this is probably going to end up being the best font for what I'm doing. Because it's straight, there's not a lot of curves, it's just pretty standard. So I'm going to keep this. Now, I was thinking that I could probably do, you guys know my YouTube logo, it's like the circles and it creates the V. Well, I could actually create that out of this. So to do that, I'm going to create a new layer. Alright. Same deal, create a marquee tool. You don't have to be so perfect with this because you're going to actually end up individually placing these. So you don't have to work with the grid or anything like that. Just hold in shift and just draw a circle any size you would like. Fill it in with the white color. Control H, no, Control D will deselect it. Okay. Now you have an individual circle. I'm actually going to change the color V, the letter V to a different color. That way it's easier for me to see. Because using all these different colors, or using all the same color, as meaning white, I'm using all white colors. There's advantages and disadvantages to doing this, but for this, it's hard to see the overlay, so I'm just going to change it to be a blue color. Alright. Now I can clearly see what's part of the V and what's part of the circle. So now that I have this, I'm going to hold in Control T, hold in Shift and Alt, drag this out a little bit, and now I have the base of my V. I'm then going to hit Control J. Okay. Now I have the second circle. Hit Control T, hold in Shift and Alt, drag this right there. Make this a little bit smaller like that. Okay. You can also create rulers, not rulers, like markers if you'd like. I think, yeah, rulers is the correct term for it. That way you know they're exactly aligned, although I'm not going to do that right now, maybe a little bit later. Same deal, Control J again. Just move this right here. I'm going to get something to drink. Okay. Just try to get this as perfect, or as close to perfect as possible. And it's great overlaying this over our original text because it's going to give us a reference point. Now on top of these, what you're going to do is you are going to go to the original circle, hit Control J again, drag this out, Control T, Shift and Alt, and then you can do any type of logo you want. You can just leave it as a regular font. You can get as creative or as non-creative as you would like. Just try to change it up, do your own thing, and I'm really interested in seeing what you guys have to do. So maybe if you recreate this logo, recreate this effect, if you submit it as a video response to this video, I will gladly check it out. I think that'd be pretty cool if I can see what you guys are able to create with this. Same deal with this circle right here. Just try to put it about right there. Control J, not Control T. I like to use shortcuts. If you don't want to, then you can just, either right-click the layer and just do duplicate, copy, all that stuff. Yeah, so I have that. What you're going to do is you're going to select all the layers that have your circles in them, or whatever other layers you would like to include in this. So that being this layer, okay, this layer, all these layers, you're going to hold in Control or Command while you do all of this. So hold in Control, click on all the layers you would like that are part of your logo, and now what you're going to do is you're going to hit Control E, which is going to merge them into one layer. Now, if you want, you can hit Control H, which is going to bring up your grid, so you can make sure that it's centered and all that good stuff. This is about good for mine. Okay, now that you have this, just, make sure you save it, of course. Why is this not? Alright, yeah. Videos. Okay, Red Bull. Just save this. I'm going to save this as 9. just in case you make a mistake, it's always good to save things. And Control S is the shortcut for saving. I just want to teach you guys a lot about Photoshop, pretty much. I mean, I'm assuming you guys right know some Photoshop, but if you don't, I suggest you watch this maybe once or twice, maybe get your own ideas and become more familiar with the Photoshop interface, because it's very simple. Well, no, actually it's not. I remember when I was trying to learn it, I was slightly overwhelmed by all the things you can do in Photoshop, but in reality, it's an awesome program, and I suggest you guys learn it because it's great. So all these shortcuts are going to be really helpful. If not, try just doing it step by step. You know, try watching it, pausing the video, watching it, pausing the video, and eventually you should come out with something that looks like what I have. Maybe, you know, you're going to have a C or an O in here or an R. Any letter. I mean, you don't have to use letters. You can write your whole entire name in there. You can even, this is just me trying to be creative here, you can even write Valgriz. Now that you have that, what you're going to do is you are going to select the marquee tool again, and you are going to just, same deal, Control H, drag a marquee, fill it in with the color white. Alright, so use the, where is it, right here. Oh no, do not do that. Create a new layer. I almost forgot about that. Create a new layer. And we are going to rasterize our text layer in just a second, but for now, hit Control D, Control H, and now you're going to have this. Put your opacity down a lot. Probably do about 50. Alright. Okay, hit Control T, transform this, and then shrink it down so that it just touches that. Alright, there you go. Okay. Now, you are going to hit Control J. Okay, on the bottom layer, you're going to hit Control T. And stretch this out a little more. And that's pretty much it. That's the basis for what we're going to be doing today. I know that might have been a little bit confusing, but I assure you, it does make sense. You just got to piece it together, I guess. This is the basis for what we are working with today. This is our circle. This is how I'm creating this graphic, and this is how it's going to look. So now I'm going to rename some of these layers. That way it's less confusing to you guys. Just going to delete layers that are not needed. Okay. Now that we have all of this, you want to make sure that you do not merge these layers that we just added. Okay, so one is going to be, okay, this is going to be the V. I'm going to just name this logo layer. This is going to be Valgriz. You're going to rasterize this by right-click and rasterize. It's not needed at this point yet, but if you do not want to edit anything else, just rasterize it, because once you rasterize it, you cannot edit it anymore. So make sure that you don't want to change the font size or anything like that, because you're not going to be able to without undoing what you previously did. All these layers right here, you can just keep them. I'm going to get something to drink. Let's continue on. So now what I'd recommend you guys do is go to File, Save, and save this as a template. Okay. And then File, Save again. Now I'm going to be putting this in my next graphics pack, so if you think this is a little bit too confusing for you guys, it's okay. You guys can just download it from my graphics pack and use this in your own. But the reason why I suggest you guys make a template out of it is because you can always refer back to it later and change the colors. And I know what you guys are saying. This is all black and white and gray in there. You're going to change these colors, and I'm going to show you guys how right now. So first, you want to pick your color scheme. You can pick colors that contrast well, and then go on the bottom layer. Okay, so I'm just going to type this bottom circle, rename this top circle, just so you guys can get a little better idea. Now, I'm really thirsty because I'm talking really fast, but I'm trying to get so much information to you guys in so little time. So on your bottom circle right here, you're going to notice that bottom circle is 50% opacity, and so is top circle. You can change this back to 100% now. I just want to show you guys the difference. And now you're going to see nothing. You're going to see pretty much two circles, depending on how well you did these outer circles. On your bottom circle, what you're going to do is you're going to right-click this. You're going to go to Blending Options, and you're going to go to Color Overlay. Okay, now I actually like this orange color right now, so I'm just going to click OK. But on your top circle, you're going to do the same thing. Right-click it, do Blending Options, go to Color Overlay, And you're going to now pick another color by clicking on this and just picking whatever color you like. I'm going to pick a bluish color. Alright, so once you have this, the reason why you are going to your blending options and selecting your color overlay is so that way you can always go back and change the colors around, just like I'm uploading the template. You guys can pick your own custom colors and it's all going to be good. Now, you're going to want to make sure that your Valgriz and that your logo are above the top and bottom circle, so they're going to appear. Once you have that, what you're going to do is you're going to right-click on Logo, click on Blending Options, click on Color Overlay, and select another color you would like. I'm going to select like a reddish color. Actually, maybe I'll just select a white color. Let's see. This looks about good. It's like a bluish white color. Once I have that, I am now going to click on the drop shadow, and this is going to make it look like it has some depth as opposed to the top and bottom circle. You can put your opacity up a little bit to maybe 85%, and you can change the spread and the distance and all that stuff. Size, just so it looks a little better. There we go. Now it looks as though our logo is separated. It's actually giving it depth like it is in front of the top and bottom circle, which is exactly what we want to do. And now what we're going to do is you're going to right click on Valgriz, go to blending options, color overlay, and then you can just click on that color and make it a little bit darker, okay, or even a little bit lighter rather. So now that you have a color overlay and you have your drop shadow, a lot of stuff, you can get creative with this. You can add a contour. Actually, I'll go back to the logo, show you guys what contour and embossing is and all that good stuff. Embeveling and embossing is going to give it that little 3D look. You can even take, let me see something, maybe you can make this look more like an actual circle by using this tool right here. You can like make him look like that. You can really get creative. I like it to stay simple, but you can make this look really nice, and hopefully you guys get creative with this. Gradient overlays, all that good stuff. You can get fancy with it, or you can keep it, standard. And now I'm going to work on the circle 1, circle 2, and circle 3. So, color overlay, click on this, and click on that. There we go. And now that we have our colors done, I actually think that the yellow should be a little more brighter. I apologize for this. I just want to make it look better than it already is. Alright, this should be good. And experiment and see what colors you think are best. Alright, this looks good. Now there is one thing I forgot to say before I told you guys we had to export it. We're not actually going to export it, we're just going to save it as a different file, so I'll explain that in just a second. But you have to click on bottom circle, top circle, your logo, and if you have your YouTube channel or your gamer tag, you want to make sure that you select all of those, all of the ones that are in this center circle, and hit Control E. Now, like I said before, you can hold in Control or Command, just click on all of the ones that are in the center circle, hit Control E, merge them into one. Now you have both circle 1, circle 2, and circle 3 independently moving, and you're going to have your center circle moving as one. Now this is, like I said, moving. This is meaning that when it rotates and all that stuff, this is going to rotate together, okay? Alright, so once you have your graphic edited to your liking, you can now import this into Adobe After Effects. And it seems as though I have misjudged the use of Adobe After Effects and PSD files. I thought previously that if you import a PSD file into Adobe After Effects, that it would allow you to select which layer you like to import. But then I realized that that'll only work if you originally export the PSD from After Effects itself, which we did not do in this case. So in a case like this, what you're going to do is you are going to uncheck all the layers except this first one. Go to File, Save As. You can save it as a PSD, you can save it as a layers, and lowercase or uppercase, doesn't matter in this situation. You're going to save it as logo_1.psd. I just saved it right there, so logo1.psd, click Save. Okay, now uncheck this layer, check that layer, go to File, Save As. You're going to save this as inner circle, INERCIRCLE. Okay, there we go. I don't know why that was so hard for me. Click Save. Okay, uncheck Circle 1. Click on Circle 2. File, Save As. I'm going to do Middle Circle. Now, the reason why we're not saving this as Circle 1, Circle 2, Circle 3 is so Adobe After Effects does not view it as an image sequence. Now there is a way to override that, but just to keep things a little less confusing, this way you'll know which is which, of course. It's also easier to organize this way. I spelled middle wrong, and now you can type in outer. Okay, and click save. Now you should go to your directory, and you should have 4 files there. Alright, now you're going to go into Adobe After Effects. You can actually close out of Photoshop because you do not need it anymore. Go into your folder, and you are going to just import all of these into After Effects, like so. Now that you have all of them, you can save this After Effects. I just saved mine as logo animations. Go to composition, new composition. Make sure that the width and the height are the same, and they are the same as your Photoshop document. 720 by 720. You can make this be 10 seconds long. That's all good. 29.97. You can do 59.94, but 29.97 is alright for a logo. Click OK. Now you're going to highlight all these layers and just drag these onto your stage. And now here you go. Now you have your basic logo, and now let's get ready to animate this, and then we will import this into maybe a gameplay clip or another video. Okay, now because our graphic is not changing position at all, the only thing that's changing is the rotation on the X, Y, and Z axis. We are not going to need to keyframe the position. Instead, you're going to need to click on the down arrow on the layer, down arrow and transform, and you're going to notice that there is no X, Y, and Z axis. A way to change that is to right click this and click on 3D layer. You can just do this for all of these. Okay, and when you're done with that, you should have all of these have these X rotation, Y rotation, and Z rotation. You're also going to notice that 3 little 0 degrees under orientation, and same deal with scale and position. There's going to be actually a third position there. Just keep in mind the first one's X, the second one's Y, and the third one is Z, which currently has 0 because there's no 3D added to it yet. Now let's start keyframing. So what you can do is just click on the down arrow on all of these layers, down arrow on transform. Okay. And like I mentioned earlier, you are going to want to make sure that the first frame and the last frame are both going to look the exact same, looking like this logo. So you're going to click on the first layer, hold in Shift, and click on the last layer. Now you're going to keyframe all of these. Okay, same deal. Now you're going to go to the last frame, keyframe all of them again. Okay, except this time click on this keyframe button. And I accidentally unselected these, so I just got to keyframe these manually. Now save what you have, and now it's time to start animating. Okay, so now that you have this, what you're going to do is you are going to mess around with either the X, Y, or Z axis on the rotation, and you can just move this a little bit, and you're going to notice that it is going to appear slightly 3D. And this is, of course, this is normal. You're going to want to select how many degrees you want to be rotated. So say at 2 seconds, which is where I'm keyframing it right now, I want it to be rotated this way. Okay. So I'm just going to put it at -180, like so. And now over the course of 2 seconds, it's going to turn 180 degrees on its axis, on the y-axis. Alright. Same thing applies for the next 2 seconds at 4 seconds. Okay. Just make sure that it is at 0. Okay. And that the first number says -1. At 6 seconds, the same thing will apply. And you can really get creative with this. Just mess around with the axes. Axes, I believe is the plural of that. And just have fun with it and do something unique. Alright, so as you guys can tell, I fully animated the outer circle. The same things are going to apply for the inner circle, and I will demonstrate that in just 1 second. Every 2 seconds, it's going to make 80 degrees revolution on the y-axis. The same thing is going to happen with the middle circle, except it's going to rotate on the x-axis, and so on and so forth. You can even copy these keyframes once you have the first one completed. copy these, okay, go to the middle one, go to the X orientation, okay, and then just paste that. And now you're going to have two circles that are revolving, and it's going to look pretty cool. The same deal, you can do the same thing with the inner circle, okay. You have all these turning in weird directions, and it's going to look pretty cool. So, let me change that. Instead of being the Z, I'm going to change this to be the Y again. Alright. And then the only difference is that I'm going to offset it slightly, okay, by just dragging these keyframes a little bit this way, okay, so it's offset, as you can see. The only difference here is that I want this to be at like this. Actually, I want this to be a negative number. I mean a positive. Sorry about that. So it'll be a positive 80. And now that all of these are turning, you now have the option to turn Valgriz in the center. You can, you cannot. It's up to you. It's your choice. Click down here on logo 1, and if you would like, just go somewhere to the center and go to the Y rotation. Put this at 180. Okay. And then go to the last keyframe, and the only difference is you want to change it so instead of it saying 0 times and then 0, you want to change this to be 1 times. And then now it should look pretty cool. And then this is our completed logo. Just wait for this to render, and that is it. Now if you'd like to apply this to maybe the bottom corner of your tutorial video, you can do that. Just simply, if you want, you can drag this composition, comp 1, to another composition. So say you have a new composition, it's 1280 by 720. Okay, drag comp 1 to it right here. Alright, shrink it down a little bit. Okay, like that. Put it in the corner, and then import your video. So this is the directory for the video I'm currently recording. You can drag one of these files in. This is actually the Photoshop section. Okay, you can just drag one of these in here, put that there, and because I'm recording this at 1920 by 1080, it's a little bit messed up. Just drag this under that, transform, put the scale down a little bit. Alright, put this at, what is it, 75%? I forget what it is. Let me try 75. A little bit too much. There we go, that seems to work out good. And that is it. As you guys can tell, this is the tutorial that I'm doing currently. Same video, just maybe a couple minutes ago. And this is it. So this is our little animated logo. If you want, you can motion track it to your scope. That's cool too. If you would like to see the motion tracking to the scope tutorial, you can just click on the link in the description and it will bring you there. That's pretty much it, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It took me a long time to record, almost 2 hours, right? Maybe even more than that. So please leave a like, favorite, and definitely share with some friends. I really took a lot of time into this and put a lot of thought into what graphic I was going to show you guys, and now I have to go edit all this. So I have about 2 hours of video. I have to somehow cut the parts out I don't want and make it to be maybe under 30 minutes, okay? Because keep in mind, I take about 2 hours of video, and I try to explain things thoroughly. But unfortunately, I cannot put all of that in one video, so if you're going to notice that things get cut out sometimes. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for subscribing. Thanks for helping me out. Thanks for supporting me. And have a great day.